What's up, guys? Nate, the old school otaku here, and I'm coming to you from my home office set area in order to introduce this video that I am releasing today. And the reason why I'm doing it this way in some weird way is that this video was actually recorded 2 years ago in the summer of 2018. And those of you who have been following my channel may know that that was around that time that I had actually started taking a relatively long hiatus that lasted nearly 2 years up to this point. And there were some personal things that happened in my life around that time that made me have to switch some of my focus of my free time and other things towards things other than this YouTube channel, and other things that made it actually rather difficult for me to get back into editing. Took a while to get me back into it, and some point in time I may talk about it more, but either way, that's basically what happened. And if you've been following me on my on my Twitter, you'll know that I've been working on a new server, and I've also working on some workflow issues as far as bringing footage into Premiere and things to edit. Just overall, the bringing in new footage has actually been rather difficult, and editing that new footage has been difficult. So I'm working on my workflow, and unfortunately that also means that a lot of this new stuff I've recorded relatively recently is taking longer to get out than what it normally does. Thankfully, I do have quite a bit of old footage that I've recorded over the last 4-ish years now that I haven't edited and released yet. So that's what this is. This was a video I shot back in the summer of 2018. It is a pickups video. So old school pickups video back at the table and everything. Audio quality is not as great as it is right now. I didn't have this mic yet at the time when I was recording it, and other things. So bear in mind, this is old school otaku type stuff coming up here, so it's not quite the same production level in certain ways, but it's still old school otaku. And at the time I apparently had forgotten to record an intro. So if you want to see what it's like to watch a video of me from a couple of years ago, like it had been a couple of years ago, but it's actually now in 2020, stay tuned. Yeah, I filmed a really long intro for this because I thought it would be cool. And welcome back, guys. So yeah, today has been a nice fun romp through the Metro Detroit area, getting a little bit of retail therapy in, as it were, and well, doing something we haven't really done in a while, which was hit up, every disc replay we could physically hit up at once, and see what they have, and see what I could find, and pick out a few things. And obviously Ruchan picked out a few things too that she liked and wanted. So between the both of us, we were able to walk away with some pretty good stuff. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and let's get this started. Let me talk about all this cool stuff we had picked up today. It has been quite their journey. A lot of the Metro Detroit area is currently on lockdown due to construction. They've got many, or the majority of the major interstates that allow you to move from one side of town to the other are entirely closed right now. In the areas where they're most useful and beneficial, unfortunately. So it was a fun trip trying to get from the east side down to the downriver area today, which was quite fun. And then in the process, we wound up getting stuck in what was the Taylor Dream Cruise happening on Telegraph Road today. That was fun. We were not expecting it, and we got out of there as quickly as possible because we had a date with the disc replay, and we didn't want to miss it. We didn't want it to close because actually did find a few interesting pieces while we were there as well. So yeah, I mean, it was fun getting out and doing that, and just kind of having a little bit of fun doing some. I guess I wouldn't exactly call what we were doing. Not Facebooking. What do you call what we're doing? I wouldn't call it scrap yarding or junk yarding or picking or any of that stuff or flea marketing. It's really just going to these resale shops and picking up stuff, because I mean in the end the quality of product you wind up finding tends to be a lot better than oftentimes what you wind up getting at the flea markets and whatnot. And you have no real leeway with anything you pick up at a flea market or some of the other things like that of whether or not how good of quality the stuff is going to be, especially the discs and whatnot. But either way, picked up quite a bit here. So let's kind of go through it. So first off, I want to go. I want to show off a piece that I picked up because, well, I've been wanting to own my own copy of it for a while now, and well, now I do. Like I said, I'm a collector of role-playing games, or RPGs, primarily Japanese RPG styling, and one of the Japanese RPG series that I don't have a whole lot of or did not start collecting early on was Breath of Fire. So it was really cool to find a copy of this on the shelf that I could actually buy. I've seen this on the shelf a few times at a couple of disc replays, but they've always been I couldn't buy them because they had to be on the store shelf for a month and a half first or something like that. I couldn't just buy it, which I always thought was kind of weird. You think you'd want to move product, but I guess they didn't want to move product that fast or something. I'm not really sure the whole dealings on it, but I found Breath of Fire for the Super NES. I've played an emulator of this of bits and pieces, but I've never finished it or really gotten very far in this one at all. I've gotten a lot farther in some of the later Breath of Fires that I've owned than I ever did in this one. So it'd be really cool to pop it in and see how it goes. Hopefully the battery inside is still good. And if not, I believe we have the tool to open these up, and I could always replace the battery. So I could actually get a save game, because I can tell you there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this whole game in one sitting. And I could do the cheap way of just leaving the system on constantly, but then I run the risk of, well, what happens if power goes out? Do I lose my progress and whatnot, which would never be fun. And typically, even though you can usually beat RPGs like this speedrunning wise fairly quickly, I'm the type that really likes to take my time with it. So this is probably sinking 40 hours. So that would definitely take a little while to get through. But either way, Breath of Fire, fun series. I've always enjoyed the Breath of Fire games. So can't wait to pop that one in and give her a whirl, as it were. So yeah, let's continue on here. What's next up? Next up is this. This is a piece that I wound up finding that I wasn't even looking for. I didn't even remember anything about this or really had heard much about this, but it's definitely an older piece, so I decided, why not pick it up? And what am I talking about? I am talking about Psychic Force. So Psychic Force here, this is and like the artwork's really nice. It's Image Entertainment, distributed by Image Entertainment, and it's unrated action-adventure. Apparently contains nudity and violence. Parental discretion advised. Looks like it was produced back in 1996 and 1998. The DVD probably came out a lot later than that. It's a 64-minute movie, OVA, whatnot. Some of the information: a dazzling new vision of future shock. But yeah, it's the DVD here has it's an English dub as well as Japanese and subtitles, English subtitles, presented in 5.1 surround and 2.0 stereo. Most likely the 5.1 is the English dub, the stereo is the Japanese dub. Apparently there's an isolated music and effects track, Psychic Junkie Fair 3, commercials, promotional video, and special interviews, so special features. So I guess let's read a little bit about this. This is one I never really heard of. Rapid changes in the new century have brought forth a dangerous power capable of good or evil. Harnessing the psychic abilities of its residents, the government has turned its most gifted citizens into New Age guinea pigs, drained of their essence and discarded after serving their purpose. One psychic, Keith Evans, escapes their clutches and with the aid of his new friend, Byrne Griffith, embarks on a futuristic odyssey which pushes their camaraderie and strength to the limit. Loaded with action-packed excitement, startling cutting-edge visuals, and memorable characters, Psychic Force propels you into a dynamic and exciting new world where one's human's mind is in the wrong hands can be explosive. Witness this new classic of anime that's sweeping up sci-fi fans in its rich mixture of stunning visual action and tense storytelling. Psychic Force, a thrilling ride you'll never forget. I have no clue how cool or how good this is. Never really heard of it before, so be interested in popping it in and seeing what all it's like. Character designs look really cool, though. Definitely has that older artistic feel. Seems a lot like Steam Detectives. The character designs and whatnot are very similar to that. So we'll see how that is, but that's definitely cool. Next up, also at the at one of the disc replays, I was going through and I found this set of discs, and let's put them in a little bit better order. And what am I talking about here? This is a really cool series, and while I do have copies of this in a couple of different forms, when I saw this edition, I knew I wanted to pick it up. What am I talking about? I am talking about Slayers Next. This is the full series. Every episode of Slayers Next. This is the Software Sculptures release of Slayers Next. Comes in 4 discs and gives you all 32 episodes, which is definitely cool that it does that, or not 32 episodes. It starts with episode 27 and takes you on to episode 52. I guess they considered Slayers to be part of the same series, so that's what they were talking about here. But it's the full Slayers Next series, and to be honest, Slayers was the first Slayers I ever saw was actually Slayers Next. It was an episode, I guess, kind of around here. It had the two characters right there at the top that I had watched, and I had no real context into what was happening. Just all of a sudden they're there, things are happening, whatnot. Storylines seemed a little weird to me, but I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of liked it. I had rented the VHS from the local Blockbuster because I had was basically borrowing my father's Blockbuster card, going in and renting stuff. So some of the first Slayers that I ever saw was in doing that. and it was definitely cool. Overall, like, I wouldn't say Next is my favorite, but it has some of my favorite scenes. The first Slayers TV series that I wound up watching in whole and actually owning in whole was Slayers Try. That one still kind of holds a little bit of a place for me. I know a lot of people don't like Try, and Try has technically been written out of the canon of the show, but I still really enjoy Try myself. But Next has some really cool storyline, really cool scenes. Some of the ideas and stuff that are brought into Next was definitely awesome. So that's really cool. And so Slayers, if you've never heard of it, it basically details the adventures of Lena Inverse, who is considered one of the strongest sorceresses in the land, and she knows the powerful dragon slave thing, and she has a tendency to blow stuff up and lots of destruction and eats tons and tons of food. She walks around with her traveling companions of Gowrie and the princess of a town and a golem Zelgatus. Amelia is a princess of I can't remember the city that she's a princess of, but yeah, she basically walks around with her three other traveling companions, and they get into hijinks and save the world and whatnot. So yeah, that's Slayers Next. Definitely cool to own this copy, this edition. Though I realize this is the collection because it's disc A, B, C, and D. But what it doesn't have, while these are the discs of the collection, it doesn't have the case that these came with. Because where is it? Here it is. Here's Slayers Try that I'm talking about here. And you can see this comes with a case and then the 4 discs. And so Slayers Next was also packaged similarly, but this didn't have the case. Or when I picked it up, I didn't dig hard enough to try and find the case that it went with. But as far as what's on my shelf, I do have, the Try edition. I also have the original Slayers, but I haven't had this version of Next. I do have Next in a couple of other editions, but I didn't own this one, so this is the one I wanted to pick up. I might go looking around, see if I can find the original box that this came with, but I've got the discs at least, so that's definitely cool. So there's that. Okay, moving right along. This is something that I've been passing up a number of times, and I could have picked up back in the day when it originally came out, but I finally decided to go ahead and give it a purchase and kind of go from there. And so what am I talking about? I am talking about Now and Then, Here and There. So this is a 12-episode series. Was touted as kind of like a mini-series back in the day. And basically what it is it's like I said, it's 12 episodes and split across 3 discs. This is a U.S. Manga Corps release. And when U.S. Manga Corps went under, ADV picked up the rights for it and made a release of it as well. But the ADV release is also out of print now, too. So these are semi-hard to come by sometimes. So there is that. And this one, originally, if I remember right, this was touted as a big mini-series that was being played on, I think, Toonami back in the day. The original Japanese version came out in 1999 and 2001, 2001, and then I think the miniseries came out here in the U.S. around 2002, 2001-ish, something like that. I don't quite remember. But overall, it's an interesting idea, interesting storyline. There's a couple of different sets, and Unfortunately, with the way they have these listed, it's hard to kind of tell which one was first, which one was last. Looks like this is 2122, this disc is 2149, and this disc is 2150. So I think this is the order. Discord and Doom is first, Flight and Fall is second, and Conflict and Chaos is third. And so, like, each of them, each of these seems to be, like, a different set of stories, I think. It's 12 episodes total, all of Now and Then, Here and There, but I think each of these discs is kind of a different story. So I guess we can kind of go through it. So apparently it's from the master of Japanese anime, Akitaro Daichi, director of Jubei-chan the Ninja Girl and Elf Princess Rain. I like Jubei-chan. Haven't seen Elf Princess Rain yet. I think I own it. I just haven't seen it yet. But this first disc here is 125 minutes. The second disc is 100 minutes. And this third disc is 100 minutes. They're unrated, contain violence and mature themes. Parental guidance is suggested. So yeah, if I look on this this first disc here, dragged through a time warp by a giant machine, Shu is thrust into a hellish future of slavery and war. There he is captured by an army of kidnapped children. Caught between reluctant soldiers and the madman who has stolen their innocence, Shu fights to save the future. Can one child stop a war? Next disc. Torn from her home and her childhood, Sarah is bound as a slave to a cruel and violent master. In her desperation to escape, she flees unthinkingly into the night, to the desert that is a haven for drifters and freedom fighters. Lost and alone, Sarah must struggle for survival in this war-torn wasteland. But she may find friends in the most unlikely of places. And finally, third disc. The desert explodes in an all-out war as a tyrant unleashes a flying battleship against a rebel army. Guns blaze and lives are lost in the devastation. No one will be left unscarred or innocent. Young Shu, searching the wreckage for a captured friend, is swept into the battle fray. It's the ultimate challenge of survival in a world gone mad. So yeah. That's kind of the thing. Now and Then, Here and There. Definitely cool to finally pick this up. It's one that I've been looking into for a while and knew about it back in the day when it came out, but never quite, picked it up or got through it. So it'll be interesting to pop that in and see what it's all about. Okay. Next up is something that, I can't honestly say is exactly in my wheelhouse, and you might think it's kind of weird me picking up something like this because, it's honestly not exactly the date range of something that I would normally buy, but at the same time, some similar things are shown as being sold, so I'm not really sure about this one. I haven't heard about this show before. It's probably known by a different Japanese name than the English name, but what I have here is If I See You in My Dreams. So what is this? Well, this is the complete series. Looks like it is a 16-episode TV series, anime series, presented in 4x3, total of 90 minutes runtime. So 16 episodes, but only 90 minutes. So sounds like they're very short episodes in here. This is an Anime Works release, presented in both, looks like Japanese and English with subtitles. I don't see a date on here, and Anime Works doesn't rarely ever talks about the original dates of the show, but judging by the look of the character designs and whatnot, I think this was a early 2000s show based off of the character designs and the way the animation kind of looks, that you can hopefully kind of see there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So what exactly is this show? So don't you forget about me. Misao, an average 20-something salaryman, has finally admitted his true feelings for the demure Nagisa. They have even shared a kiss on Christmas Eve. This was despite all of the other men competing for Nagisa and all of the girls who are interested in ending up in a compromising position with Misao. After all of this, what could possibly mess things up now? Apparently, it's not that hard for things to go wrong. When Misao is knocked back to square one, he has to run the gauntlet once again to make Nagisa his. So sounds like this is an interesting, wacky, zany love story. I kind of like these from time to time. This might be a little bit more on the adult side in some ways. Looks like it's rated 13 and up by the standard anime rating. It's a comedy drama, romance type thing. If I see you in my dreams. I don't really know much about it, but when I saw it on the shelf, I'm like, you know what? This looks kind of interesting, and decided to pick it up and we'll give her a shot. So that is that. Okay. Next up is something that I honestly was not expecting to see on store shelves, to be honest. And, it kind of just is what it is. There's this is the DVD Collector's Box Set, Volume 1 of Rumiko Takahashi's Meison Ikoku. What is Meison Ikoku? Well, it is if I remember correctly, second anime TV series of Rumiko Takahashi's. The first one was Yaretsu Yatsura, then there was Meison Ikoku, and then Ranma 1/2. Rumiko Takahashi, while she does do different stories, she has a lot of similar characters throughout her stories, similar ideas, similar thoughts, and whatnot, and also similar problems with ending. But Meison Ikoku is basically about a guy who moves into this shared home and rents out a room at this shared home, and it is run by this woman. And he kind of falls in love with her. And basically, the whole series is basically, will they or will they not get together? Type of thing. There's a lot of other zany characters in the house, some interesting things that go down. But it's one of those, it's a classic anime. It's a classic Rumiko Takahashi, and it's one of the ones that I never had really gotten into. This set here, set 1, is 3 discs for a grand total of 12 total episodes. So 4 episodes per disc. And I believe this series is a 50-ish episode series, I think. This is a release from Viz. Old release from Viz. Do we have any dates on here? So Meison Ikoku came out in 1986. And this edition here came out sometime. There's no date. But you've got English and Japanese, audio, and obviously subtitles. 4 approximate episodes per disc. And it is what it is. So they what it talks about here is Meison Ikoku is a story which takes place in Japan. Meison Ikoku is a love story. Meison Ikoku is a story about life. Meison Ikoku from Viz, because home is where the heart lives. But that doesn't mean it couldn't happen anywhere. Here's a romance the way it was meant to be. A romance the way its creator, Rama 1/2's Rumiko Takahashi, meant it to be. A story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Which, it's true, if I remember right, this is one that really does have an ending. Mason Ikoku is a love story. It's about a young Japanese student struggling to pass his college entrance exams, a ronin named Yusaku Godai, and the building's beautiful new manager, a woman who hides a secret sadness, Kyoko Otanashi. It's a story about life. It's the story of the growing closeness between a young man learning to love for the first time and a young woman learning to love again. And it all happens in here, in this rundown Tokyo boarding house known as Mason Ikoku. So yeah, this is set 1. Definitely a cool set to pick up. I never thought I'd see something like this, and I knew I wanted to pick it up. I don't care if it's only set 1. I don't care if there's more sets that I need to look for and find. This is one of the ones that I've been meaning to add to my collection, so I'm glad that I finally started. So yep, Volume 1 of Set 1 of Mason Ikoku, which is discs 1 through 3, total of 12 episodes, so I know there's more. Time to go searching. That's really cool. I've seen some really great AMVs from Mason Ikoku, and it's one of the main reasons why I really like to try and take a look at it. Okay, up next is a Blu-ray. It's also a modern show. Well, a modern show based off of an old school story. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Ghost in the Shell Arise. This is the set which has borders 1 and 2. So it's got Border 1, Ghost Pain, and Border 2, Ghost Whispers. So this is the new OVA that had come out of Ghost in the Shell called Arise, and it's kind of telling the story of Major Kusanagi before she really became, or how she really came into her own as like the leader of everything. This should go in here, not in there. Let's fix this. There we go. I see what happened here. For some reason, they put the Blu-ray in one case and the DVD in the other case. There we go. Now, it's all good. This is one that I hadn't originally picked up. I knew it was coming out, but my standard aversion to new anime coming out and whatnot, and having it be a different storyline, I didn't really quite get into it when it first came out, but it's something that I've been wanting to pick up, so might as well have finally picked it up. So Ghost in the Shell Arise, Borders 1 and 2, Ghost Pain, and Ghost Whispers. This set here is a double DVD and Blu-ray set, so there's a DVD and a Blu-ray for each one. Total of 114 minutes between the two episodes. And yeah, there's like 71 minutes of extras on this as well, which is really cool. I don't know a whole lot about the storyline here, but if we talk about it from the information on the box, it says Control Alt Destroy. This cyberpunk classic that sparked a phenomenon returns with all new storylines, combining breathtaking visual effects and exhilarating action sequences. Ghost in the Shell Arise sheds new light on the mysteries that have haunted fans for decades, while rebooting the genre it helped define. So yeah, I know the movie that I saw in theaters a couple years back was in a lot of ways based off of Arise. It kind of told in some ways a bit of kind of the same-ish story as the original Ghost in the Shell. but basing it off of like the lore and stuff that they talked about in Arise. So it was definitely an interesting one to see, and it'd be kind of nice to actually get into it and take a look. I never really could get into the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex very much, which I realize standalone complex is supposed to be closer to the manga in a lot of ways. But I liked the original movie, and that's kind of one of the problems is I'm one of those guys that saw the original movie, kind of liked how it went and the stuff that it talked about, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around some of the other stuff. The Tachikomas is one thing in that TV series that I couldn't quite get into, but either way, it's definitely cool to finally pick this up. I got a pretty good price on it, so Ghost in the Shell, Arise. All right, finally, we've come to the end. One more piece to talk about, and this is one that I've been wanting to pick up for quite some time. A little bit of a backstory on this. I first saw and kind of heard about this story back in the day. I mean, real early in the day. It was one of the early days of me having real internet access and whatnot. And there was this streaming service that you could stream things through. It was very early streaming service that required you downloaded a file, and then that file would then connect out to this stream and then stream to your video player and whatnot. It was kind of very similar to, if you've ever remembered the old web radio that you could listen to through Winamp. It was a very similar idea to a lot of the stuff that ran off of. And that service had this show on that. And that's when I first kind of read about the show, and I'd seen bits and pieces, but never could really get all the way through it. And what am I talking about? I am talking about Landlock. Now, if you look at the character designs here, this definitely looks like the character designs is from Masamune Shirow, creator of Ghost in the Shell. And I love Shirow's artwork. I used to get the yearly Shiro calendar that would come out. And then eventually I wound up buying it from Japan because I couldn't find it here in the States. Had quite a few Shiro posters that were posted up in my dorm room in college. And a lot of other stuff. I really love the way he draws. He draws his art, and particularly the way he draws his women. He has a very good artistic style with how he does a lot of that stuff, and I really love that. And a lot of his early stuff I'm kind of into, and this is one of those, basically. So according to animeonline.org, it's excellent, simply gorgeous in all aspects. And Gamers Republic says, quality animation and excellent design, highly recommended. So far, they're basically talking about how it looks. And it definitely looks really cool. This is a manga entertainment release, 90-minute movie here from 1995. Landlock is on a fiery stage illuminated with blood and tragedy. An epic tale is about to unfold. Mysticism and technology unite in this great two-part anime series featuring character designs by Masamune Shirow. I was right. That's right. It's not a movie. It's a 2-episode OVA. That's right. That's what this was. I'm remembering things now. It's been a while. The land of Zerul is in turmoil, ravaged by the technological might of Chairman Sanaku and his evil, militaristic Zul-Earth forces. In a rapidly unfolding story of treachery, deceit, and betrayal, only one boy holds the power to defeat such overwhelming odds. A boy named Luader, who possesses a mysterious red eye and the ability to control the power of the wind itself. With the fate of the world at stake, Luader must learn to unlock his legendary power and battle against the evil which threatens to engulf his planet. This action-packed sci-fi sorcery series features strong visual design, vibrant colors, and wonderfully exotic characters. Landlock takes you into another world that blends a stirring mix of magic and technology with loads of animated action and adventure. Manga Entertainment presents this magical two-part tale on one DVD. So yeah, this is one of those old shows that I had always kind of wanted, but never really saw a copy of. So I'm very interested in that. Looks like this kind of shows the two parts. You've got the front cover on it, and then looks like an animation scene, which honestly doesn't have a whole lot of detail to it on the inside, but you know, early DVDs didn't really get a whole lot. But yeah, I mean, you look at the back here, the quality of the artwork that they have in the background. Like they have, like, this is really cool, but the design in the back, it's really blurry. It's a screenshot from the show and not a very good one at that. And it definitely has been blown up and whatnot. But, you know, that's what a lot of these older stuff wound up looking like, which was definitely cool. So I am very, very interested in this. Yeah, this was a 2002 DVD release. So, yeah, this is Landlock. Definitely something that I've been eyeing and wanting to pick up for quite some time. I found it a couple of times, but this is the cleanest copy I've ever seen. So I'm definitely pleased to finally add this one to my collection. So yeah, that brings us to the end, as it were. So yeah, guys, we had a lot of fun going out and doing this. It's something that we used to do a whole lot and had kind of stopped doing after a little while, and hope to do a little bit more of this again, hitting up some of the other disc replays and other resale shops. I'm actually planning on doing a romp through pretty much the whole Midwest as we can, hitting up every disc replay that we know of in Michigan, Indiana, maybe even going all the way to Illinois. It's going to be a weekend, a whole weekend trip, and whatnot. So it'll be fun when we finally get around to that, and hope to show you guys bits and pieces of that travel, and then obviously the fruits of our labor, as it were, coming back from that. But yeah, so guys, let me know what you think about all this stuff I picked up in the comments below. Any of these you've seen, you have thoughts on, let me know. I'm interested to see what you guys think, especially some of these ones that I had never heard of, like this one here, and whatnot. So I'm interested to know what you guys' thoughts are. And yeah, more videos are coming out. I've got quite a bit more pickups to talk about. This is what we picked up today, but I've got quite a bit of backlog of laser discs and stuff to go over, so more content is coming. So hope you guys enjoy and have enjoyed this. If this is your first time tuning in to any of my videos, thank you for following through up to this point. I appreciate it, and hope you stick around to see other videos. And if you want more of my content, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Put your front row and center whenever I release something new, and hit that bell icon. Who knows what it really does, but if you want to get notifications, supposedly that's supposed to do it for you. You can also follow me on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Facebook. All of those links will be in the description below, as well as a link to my website, where you can also see all of these videos and whatnot, and interact and whatnot. So feel free to do any of those things. I encourage you to check out my Patreon if you want, and consider donating to the cause of making the Otaku abode better for these videos, upgrading my audio equipment and whatnot. I encourage you to help out with that if you so desire, or just share it out is perfectly fine either way, though. So anyway, guys, that kind of brings us to the close. So either way, I am Nate, the old school Otaku. Really enjoying some of the stuff that I picked up today. Signing off. Lots of discs. Lots of discs. Okay. That's it. Let's install a graphics card.